What's going on, guys? My name's Jeff, and this is Mad Hatter's Reef. This is where we talk about everything reef tank related. So if you love reef tanks like I do, hit that subscribe button. Now today we're going to be talking about the top 10 saltwater fish on my wish list. Now this is for my 220-gallon aquarium, and we're going to be doing this at liveaquaria.com. And starting the list off at number 10 is the blue-green chromis. Now, why on earth would I want blue-green chromis for my 220-gallon aquarium? That's because I have a hard time keeping them. And I've tried quarantining this fish multiple times with zero. That's right, zero success rate. And this is technically a fish that's easy to care for, and that's what makes it that much more frustrating. They are rather inexpensive, which doesn't really ease the pain of killing fish, but there is something that is missing when I am quarantining this fish, and I need to figure that out. But I've always wanted to have a school of blue-green chromis swimming around in the tank. I think a minimum of 5 would be what I'd like to see, and it is something that I would like to get done in the future, and that's why they're on my wish list. Coming in at number 9 is a fish that I have never kept, and it is the coral beauty angelfish. Now this is of the dwarf variety, and they're relatively inexpensive when it comes to saltwater fish. $30 isn't really that bad. You can find them on sale from time to time, and there is some coloration differences between the Indonesia style as well as the Fiji style. The Indonesia fish tend to be not as colorful as the Fuji variety, but ultimately a very beautiful fish. But one thing that I will stress a word of caution with this fish is they are considered reef safe with caution. So they aren't 100% bulletproof reef safe. They have been known to pick at corals from time to time. So it's something that if you want to put this on your wish list, that you need to consider, because you could end up ripping your tank apart getting this fish out if you get one of the ones that likes the taste of coral. Coming in at number 8 on our top 10 saltwater fish wish list for my 220-gallon reef tank, and that is the royal gramma. Now, this is a relatively common fish, but they are absolutely stunning. They are considered easy to care for. They have a peaceful temperament and are considered carnivores, and they are reef safe, so that makes them a great community fish for those community reef tanks out there. They grow upwards of 3 inches in length and require a minimum of 30 gallons of aquarium to be happy. My mom has one of these fish in her tank, and it is huge, and it is one of the most beautiful fish. I just absolutely love the colorations, and that's why it is on my top 10 saltwater fish wish list for my 220-gallon aquarium. Coming in at number 7 on our top 10 wish list saltwater fish for my 220-gallon reef tank, and that is the red velvet fairy wrasse. The red velvet fairy wrasse is considered easy to care for. Easy to care for. They are peaceful and are of the carnivore variety. They are considered reef safe and require a minimum of 70 gallons and can grow upwards of 4 inches. Now, wrasses are some of my favorite fish, even though I currently don't have any at the moment, and they are a fish that has a lot of character, and that makes them a very, very good candidate for any reef tank out there. So make sure the reef's safe and get yourself a wrasse. Coming in at number 6 on our top 10 saltwater fish wish list for my 220-gallon, and that is the Leartail anthias. The first time that I saw this fish was on a Mr. Saltwater Tank video, and I shot him a comment on the video asking him what was that beautiful anthias in his tank, and it was a male, and the males are very striking, and he told me it was the Leartail anthias, and ever since then I've always wanted one. I have never had one, and it's been years and years, and I'm getting to the point where I need to pull the trigger on an anthias because I've always been a little concerned about taking care of them. The reason being is they are considered a moderate level fish to care for them, and they require frequent feedings, and they usually are a plankton feeder, but they are reef safe, and they are an amazingly beautiful fish, and they are a mid-level fish. They don't tend to hang to the rock work. They don't just sit on the top of the rocks. They are in the water column, and that's what makes them such an interesting fish because they're pretty much always out. Coming in at number 5 on my saltwater fish wish list for my 220 gallon, and that is the magnificent foxface rabbitfish. I had a chance to get one of these fish when I first bought my 220 gallon. The gentleman that had that tank actually had a handful of fish that he couldn't home, and he offered this fish to me. And at the time, I didn't really want to take a tank and not sure if I was going to be able to set it up immediately and get fish in there. So I told him I was all set, and he found another home for the fish. And ever since then, I've wanted this fish, even though they are considered venomous, something that you need to take in consideration, especially if you're going to pick up any foxface rabbitfish. Their spines do have a venom in them, so if you're going to have your hands in the tank, or somebody else may put their hands in the tank, that's definitely something that you want to take under consideration. Their care level is considered moderate. They are considered peaceful. They are a herbivore, even though they will snack on a little shrimpy here and there, but they are considered reef safe with caution. So it's one of those fish that you're going to want to test out to make sure that you have one of those guys that doesn't nip and bother the corals. And they do require a larger tank. You're going to want to at least have a 125 gallon tank. Coming in at number 4 is the fish that I ultimately got the 220 gallon tank for, and that is the blonde naso tang. Now, even though I bought this tank almost 2 years ago, I still have yet to buy a blonde naso tang, and I don't really have a whole lot of reasons other than the fact of they can be pretty costly, even though that this cost here for this fish, the $199, is way, way above fair market value in my opinion. And ultimately, they are a absolute stunning fish. Now, there's the blonde naso tang, and then there's the regular naso tang, but both the males of this fish get streamers on their tail, which is even more visually stunning when this fish is full grown. Their care level is considered moderate. They can be semi-aggressive to other tangs, and they're a herbivore, even though they will chew up some meat here and there. Considered reef safe, so that's always important. But the one thing that needs to be stressed about this fish is the size in which it can grow, which is a total of 18 inches, which is absolutely monstrous. The minimum tank size for this fish is 180 gallons, and if you had a fish that was at that 18-inch mark, I would feel kind of bad having it in anything under a 400-gallon aquarium. But they are a absolute beautiful fish, and that's why they're on my top 10 saltwater fish wish list. Coming in at number 3 on my top 10 saltwater fish wish list for my 220 gallon reef tank, and that is the flame angel. Now, I currently have a flame angel in quarantine at my local fish store because my local fish store is awesome and they quarantine fish. But that really is the first step in the journey of adding a flame angel to my 220 gallon reef tank. Now, they are considered reef safe with caution. So what that means is they are known to nip at corals from time to time. They've also been known to nip at invertebrates. And with that knowledge in place, part of what is going to happen when I bring this fish home is I'm going to put it in a standby tank and add some coral frags to it, add some invertebrates to it, and see how he's going to act, because I'm not putting him in my 220 gallon tank and just to rip him out a couple of weeks later because he's tearing the place up. So that's something that we are going to go through together. I'm going to document here on Mad Hatter's Reef. So if you guys are interested in that and you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can be notified of all the latest Mad Hatter Reef uploads. Coming in at number 2 on my top 10 saltwater fish wish list for my 220 gallon, and that is the blue dotted jawfish. Now, the blue-dotted jawfish is considered moderate care level. It is semi-aggressive, which is shocking to a lot of people because it is a fish that is often seen in nano reef tanks, but they can be aggressive towards other critters, especially if they come close to their burrow. They are considered reef safe and can grow upwards of 3.5 inches. They hail from El Mexico and require a minimum of 30 gallons. But all that aside, this is an absolute beautiful fish, and I'd love to have one in the 220-gallon aquarium. They have a ton of personality and definitely bring some color to the aquarium. And coming in at number 1 on our top 10 saltwater fish wish list for my 220-gallon aquarium, and that is the purple tang. One of my most favorite tangs, and it's not so much the coloration of this fish, it's the lines and dots within this fish. I absolutely love the pinstriping and dots among the face, and it is a just breathtaking fish, especially when they get bigger. They definitely start putting out some amazing coloration. This fish is considered moderate care level. It is semi-aggressive, which is, in my opinion, one of the more aggressive tangs out there, and it is a herbivore, but it will snack on some shrimp here and there. It's considered reef safe, can grow upwards of 10 inches, and requires a minimum of 125 gallons. This is my end game. This will be the last fish that goes into the 220-gallon aquarium, and even though that I have some other tangs in there, the reason why this guy would be added last is due to the fact that it is aggressive. But ultimately, it is one of the most beautiful tangs out there, and I cannot wait to get my hands on them. All right, folks, that's going to do it for our top 10 saltwater fish wish list for my 220-gallon aquarium. I want to thank you guys for suggesting the topic of this video, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. That's it for today, but there's plenty more Mad Hatter Reef videos to go around.